So today I want to talk to you about predators and keeping animals in the mountains of Colorado, or even just walking through the mountains of Colorado. But first, let's take a look at Monty and see if she's had her puppies yet. Oh, and the AC unit is not running, which is interesting. Interesting. Let's go see. Come on, let's go see. So, since it's not running, I'm guessing that the internal temperature is probably in range. Maybe? Yeah, the temperature says 77. Okay. Let's see. Oh boy. Let's see. Alright. Oh, let me get in here. Oh. Yeah, she figured out she can walk through the carpet. Okay. Interesting. So, it's comfortable in here. It's interesting that the unit's not running though. And we still have power to the light. Looks like she was busy. Okay. Alright guys, check this out. We're finishing up a project from yesterday. And Monty still hasn't had her babies yet. And the little air conditioner thing worked pretty good. It's, for those that you didn't catch it, it's a air conditioner heater unit that goes on this tough shed. And the funny thing is like right now it's not running. And I think it has to hit a certain threshold in temperature to actually run. And it's been kind of on and off all morning, but you know, normally up here in the mountains it's about 75, and that's what it's set at. So, guess it doesn't need to run if it's at the set temperature. So basically, I had that carpet up in front of the door, and Monty kind of pushed a corner through and was going kind of in and out of both the dog door and through the carpet. So I just pulled it off and put it on the floor. And I'll show you what I'm going to do next. So here's what I'm planning. I plan on using this little electric saw here and cutting this board to size. It's some wafer board. And I think I can put this board on the inside of the door and then put the original doors back on the structure. And I think that'll give it a better finished look. Alright, so I just realized that the extension cord for my dog cooler heater is the last one I have. So I had to disconnect it for this project. Alright, so this is what I have so far. Just cut one board and put it in. And the next board I guess I'll put a little bit higher. This is a metal piece on the top, so you really can't drill into it. So, and then it has these bolts. I'm going to have to do something with those. I'll have to cut the next piece. So here's what the inside looks like with that second piece. I used my biggest drill bit I had and I tried to kind of get those. It's hard to line those up. It doesn't really have to be finished on the inside as long as it kind of flushes up along the side of the wall. So now I'm just going to put on the outer doors. Okay, so these doors are just going to be decorative really and pretty much non-functional. So one of these doors was down by the barn. I was laying down, it actually got broke. And believe it or not, they actually still function, but I don't know if it's really cold. I don't know how weatherproof they would be. So I'm just going to put maybe a couple screws just to kind of hold it together. And that's the final touch on that thing. That is my climate controlled doghouse. Final version. And if you weren't here the other day, this is the unit in the back. If you go look back at that video, you can watch how I installed it. So let's talk about the predators of the mountains of Colorado. So if you showed someone my setup here with my bulls and cows, and it's especially my ducks, they scratch their head and they're like, how are you keeping ducks out here alive? Well, for a while I was keeping chickens too, and chickens are a little different. The ducks, they stay down pretty low, and my ducks over here, you can see them. They're really content in here, and there's actually a trick to keeping them safe and keeping them alive. And when I first started out, I started with chickens, and I set up a huge, it's like right here, I set up a huge chain link enclosure. And I thought I had it wired together really good, and the only thing I had was this whole arena came with this homemade, really heavy-duty horse panel. And this chain link wasn't here, and the electric wire wasn't there. And look at the little baby running. She's so happy. So speaking of that little baby, if this was out in the, if this was just out in an open field with the barbed wire, that baby, it would be tough for her to survive at that age, actually. And so we have mountain lions and bears, coyotes, foxes. I've actually seen a wolf out here too. So back to my chain link. So I had my chickens in my chain link over there. And one day I came out and opened the door to my house. I was like, there's a chicken at the front door. And what had happened was a bear got into my chickens. And you can tell if it's a bear or if it's a mountain lion that gets into your chickens. I actually just lost a couple chickens a couple weeks ago. And what had happened was I had 2 chickens left, and I accidentally put up a stock tank like this close to the fence. And what a chicken will do is it'll hop from here up to here, and then it'll go, hey, I think I can make it over the fence, and it'll jump over. And if you don't catch them and they're out at night, they're pretty much gone the same day. So I came out here and I was looking, I was like counting my birds, which I do every now and then. Just make sure they're all there. And my chickens were gone. And I looked over here and you can still kind of see just feathers. So what a bear will do is it'll eat completely the whole bird. And a bear could eat like 20 chickens all at once. So you'll see I had one chicken there and little bits of a chicken here. It's just the feathers here and there. And one year I had a mountain lion jump in here, and I think I had like 40 chickens. And a mountain lion's a little different. When they jump in, they'll just kill everything as much as they can. So I came out here and it was just a slaughterhouse of chickens. They were just all dead all over the place. It was really sad. They don't eat them until the next day. So it's a little bit different. So I actually started with chickens, selling the eggs, and I think I broke even on that one. And then I started hatching chickens. And I was making a little bit of money, I think, and I had some incubators, and I'd hatch the chickens, and I'd throw them in here every time I'd hatch them, and I was hatching so many eggs. I had like 100 chickens in here, of all different sizes and ages, and people would come over with their kids, and we'd run around and catch the chickens, and I'd sell them to the kids, and they'd raise them up. It was really fun. But the little ones, they would slip through the gate sometimes. The older ones, I found, the funny thing is I did put up this chain link when I had that many chickens, and the older ones would scratch right along the bottom here, along the fence, and they'd make a hole, and then all the little ones would escape, and then the fox would eat them. That fox ate a lot of chickens, little baby chickens. And then what I did, actually, most of my chickens kind of congregated to this side of the fence over here. So try to fix that. I put up some chicken wire at the bottom of the fence and I buried it a little bit. And I think I still have some over here. So you'll see it's a little bit of chicken wire here that goes down about a foot into the ground, and then we buried it to try to keep the baby chickens in. And it was mostly just on this side. And then every now and then I'll walk the fence and I'll see something like this. And you'll see something just tried to get in, and I kind of put some rocks there. So I could tell, since I put those, that concrete block and some rocks and stuff there, that nothing really big has gotten through there. But you really have to check your fences. And then one day I came out and I started running a game cam at night. And I started seeing all kinds of stuff at night, mountain lions and bears, and when I first got my cows, I had Iris and Daisy. They were little tiny cows, and the mountain lions and bears kept jumping in here. And at night, I put them in that calf hut that I'm keeping the dogs in, and lock them up. One time, I even put them in my garage, and then I started putting them in the livestock trailer every night because they were definitely after my animals. And then one time, a big old mountain lion jumped on top of Iris in the middle of the night and scratched her up, really deep, huge scratch wounds all over. And you can't even see him now. It's been a couple of years since she's had him. I don't see any scars at all. But those scars, maybe this right here, you can see just a little bit. But she got tore up. And then after that, I called the Division of Wildlife. So the DOW came out, and I actually had llamas back then. And they told me, I can't believe that your llamas are still alive. So they actually helped. They set me up pretty good. And they suggested the electric fence. And that was the #1 line of defense, I think, for predators, is the electric fence. And then they also recommended these floodlights. And I just have these little LED, they're little cheapo, bought them at Home Depot, and they've been going for a long time. I got one there, another one over here. And they put out just enough light to where you can kind of see where the animals are. I have a couple on that side too. Yeah, between the electric fence and those floodlights, I've had virtually no predator problems. And I think the key to getting a really good electric fence is the charger. If you take a look at my charger, I mean, I think it's all about the charger. This one was like, I think it was like, they were really expensive, like $400 for a big 18 joule charger. And the first one I got was actually on sale, and I got it for less than half price. And it actually went out once, and it was under factory warranty, and they fixed it for free. And I actually got another one because I wanted a backup. And I never want this place to go one night without a charger. And another neat little trick, so if you're running fence, you don't really know from here if that charger is running. And I use this little, it's a little light that just clips right out of the wire. And I don't know if you can see it on the camera here, but now it's starting to flash. So when that flashes, that means your fence isn't working. And you always want to take it off once in a while and check it just to make sure the batteries are running. And it's been the same batteries for years. Woo! Woo! I got shocked a little bit. Yeah, the worst I ever got shocked is I had full contact with that 18 joule wire right on my neck, and whoo, it felt like I got hit with a baseball. Definitely don't want to do that. So most guys, when they move up here from the city, I've been out here for about 13, 14 years, something like that. They kind of go through different phases. When you first get here, you're totally clueless. You have no idea about what's in the woods, what's lurking. And then once you do find out, you kind of go through a panic mode. So I think when I started out and I really figured out what was in the woods here, we go through these populations, explosions of different animals, and one time we had these little tiny ground squirrels, and they were eating all my chicken food, bringing it all down in their dens, and they multiplied like crazy. And we literally had hundreds of them. The whole forest was just full of these little ground squirrels. So I bought this little snap trap. Actually, I bought 3 or 4 of them. And I'd put them all out and bait them, and when it caught them, it would kill them. And when I went out to check on them, the only thing left was a tail or a little bit of fur. And I caught probably 100 of them, and every single one I checked, it was just, the only thing that was left was fur. And I remember one time I went out and there was a ground squirrel in one of my traps, and it just caught him, and he was kind of twitching a little bit, and I thought, oh, I'll come back in 5 minutes. So I came back in 5 minutes, and the only thing left was a tail. And then I knew there's something out here. I can't see it. I mean, if you just stop and look out here, I mean, you can't see any predators. And the predators up in the mountains here, they hide and they hunt and they kill for a living. And you don't realize it. And most of the times you'll never see them. It's like you can come on here with a chicken wing from, you know, your local restaurant and throw it out in the middle of the forest here, and come back in 10 minutes, it'll be gone. It's like, it's pretty amazing that the forest is so full of predators, and they hide so well you just don't see them. It's pretty amazing. So kind of the second phase you go through is that panic phase, and you realize there's stuff all over that wants to kill you and eat you. And you know, you start carrying a gun. I used to carry a handgun for a while, and you know, or I'll at least carry a knife on me, but I typically don't carry my gun anymore unless I'm going out at night. And one thing you have to realize is most of these predators are night hunters, and they won't come after you in the day. Very rare that you'll see something in the day coming after you. But still, I used to go out and hunt wild mushrooms, and I've been out here alone a lot in the woods, and that was back when I carried a gun, and I could hear something rustling every now and then, like behind where I was going. And I slowly circled around one time, got in my car and drove off, and I flushed out a mountain lion that was stalking me. And after that, I realized that it's probably not best to be alone out here in the woods, unarmed. And then you realize there's kind of like a third stage you go through that. I guess it's you realize that most of the predators come out at night, and the danger of getting attacked during the day is very minimal. And so normally everything comes out at dusk or dawn, or in the middle of the night. And I have some pretty good footage of stuff on the game camera. I'll see if I can dig some up and attach it to the end of this video. But the game cam kind of wakes you up. You know, you think, you know, where are all these animals? And then you turn it on at night and they all come out. It's pretty amazing. But, and there's one more piece of equipment that is kind of cool. Let me show you that. So this little gem is put out by FLIR, and it's a night vision thermal infrared monocular. And these are the bomb. I can imagine not having one. They're really expensive, brand new. They're about $2,000, so don't drop it. Don't get it wet. But what's really cool, I don't know if you can see this on the video, but all the animals come out as red. At night it works even better. It doesn't work really good in the day because everything gets hot from the sun. But let me see if I can get the dog here. Kind of. What we can actually do is at night it works really, really well. And let me turn it off here. Because everything's cold at night, and everything that's alive basically sticks out. And I didn't even know I had raccoons until I got this thing. And it is really amazing. I mean, one of the things that I really use it for is if my animals, in the middle of the night, they're going crazy, jumping around, something's out there, and you're afraid to go out there. Well, you grab your FLIR and you go out there, and it's you'll see everything, even little mice. The other thing is it'll see anything with body heat. So if you drop your knife and you lose it in the grass, you can easily find it with that thing. It's amazing. So I think my main problem up here is that I live on the edge of civilization. And, you know, if you go right behind me in that direction, there's people that live that way. But if you go straight ahead this way, there's like millions of acres of nothing once you get out there. And the wild animals just come right in. I'm like the front line here for catching them all, or seeing them all. So I can tell you what the DOW, Division of Wildlife, you know, actually if you lose livestock up here, you call the DOW and they will actually pay you and write you a check for whatever you lose from your livestock. And I don't know, the only thing I've really lost is chickens, and it's not that big of a deal, especially when I'm raising a whole bunch and I have so many. I've never really cashed in on the deal. But if you lost some calves or something, that'd be I don't know, it's kind of a good insurance, but you just kind of hate to use it because, you know, you're just pulling out taxpayer dollars, which I don't really like to do. So anyway, I was having my problems and I called the DOW, and they came right out, looked at my setup, and they said, yeah, you should have electric fence and floodlighting. Then they said, if you want, you can actually hunt that mountain lion that killed all your chickens, and I could hunt it without a license and kill it, and I could keep the meat. And I didn't want to do that. And another thing he said is mountain lions travel in 200-mile areas. So if you kill one, another one basically moves in. And they kind of do their rounds. It's not like there's always a mountain lion around. He'll come, and then like 6 months later he'll do another round, and you'll see everyone loses their chickens or animals all at the same time. But anyway, another thing the DOW did is they gave me like rubber bullets to shoot at the animals. I thought that was interesting. I still have the bullets. I don't think I'll use them. And they also said they'd help me trap. So they'd set up a live trap, and the only problem is they said anything they trap, they'd have to kill it. And I just didn't feel comfortable with that. So there's actually a guy down the road that has sheep, of all things. And he seems like he's been keeping them alive for a long time. And the only thing that I can figure out is he must be bringing them in every night, because there's no other way you can keep them alive. And if you bring them in every night, you stand a pretty good chance of being successful. The other thing is, if you get dogs, they say to get dogs in pairs. And of course, I have two huge, big dogs. I have St. Bernard, Chicote, and a Rhodesian Ridgeback. And they say if you get two dogs, if a mountain lion comes by, the two of them barking kind of throws them off and distracts them, and they can't like hone in on one specific target. So I definitely get big dogs and 2 of them if you can. So I think another thing that really makes me more comfortable, I'd say, is when I go out with the cows, those 2 big bulls. Anything that jumps in there, I think those 2 bulls are pretty intimidating. So when I first started in cattle, I had mountain lions chasing my calves, and I started loading them in here. And I even got to the point where this window here was completely empty, and I welded in a little screen because I didn't want anything crawling in there to get my calves. And I was even worried about this little spot on the back. I mean, you get so freaked out when something's after your animals and there's really nowhere to put them. So another thing, I don't know, if you're thinking of moving to the mountains and you have small kids, I don't know if I would do it. If you did, I would definitely keep them inside all the time until they're bigger. And I've known people that, you know, they're hunting elk. The guy's 6 foot tall, walking with his, 20-year-old son. He's 6 foot tall, and they get jumped and scratched up by mountain lions. So it's no joke. Those guys are pretty aggressive sometimes. But luckily they had guns and they could defend themselves. So that's pretty much it for everything I have for the predators in Colorado. There is one thing. It was the time when I saw a wolf, and it looked like a coyote, only it was like 4 times as big, and it was right on the other side of the chain link fence from Chicote. And he made Chicote look small, and he's a St. Bernard, so they say there's no wolves in Colorado, but I've seen one, and where you see one, you'll eventually see some more. So if you go out there, stay safe. If you have animals, I definitely think about floodlights at night and an electric fence. And if you run into any problems, make sure you call the Division of Wildlife. I'm sure they'd help you out with some more suggestions. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.